Hello and welcome. Another edition of Coach's Corner. Each and every week, try to take some time, spend with some coaches, all levels, all divisions, to help parents and athletes make better informed decisions. And today we are going to be speaking with the head coach, LSU Shreveport, NAIA national champion, but more importantly, a storybook season, 59 and 0. You may have read about it. Wall Street Journal, Sports Illustrated, it's been all over social media platforms. Head coach. And Brad, I want to make sure I say Neffendorf.
Yep, you said it right.
All
Like,
right. I'm 1 for 1 today. That's good.
oh, well, about 1 out of every 5 gets it right, so, I appreciate it.
Well, I want to start really and talk first and foremost about, looking back at the beginning of the year, back in January, you're down in Louisiana in Shreveport and you take a look at the team. Did you have any idea that the team would A, be in a World Series environment, or B, have the opportunity to go undefeated?
Undefeated, absolutely not.
Right.
Do I believe that we had a team? Yeah, I believe that we had a team that, you know, getting to the World Series is obviously tough. I think it can be tougher just due to the format of it and the atmosphere of it and understanding what you're playing to get into. Like, and this might sound different, but I think it's a little bit tougher and more of a relaxed, the relaxed environment is almost when you get to the World Series. Like, hey, we made it. Let's just go play. And it's tough to get the kids, which we did an unbelievable job with it, to understand. A regional format is just different. There's so many things about it, especially when you host. It adds a little bit of a different expectation to it, which we've hosted 5 years in a row. That I know that we had with the amount of returners that we had back, and we hit on some really good ones to get in here for 1 year to transfers. I knew we had a chance to be really good, and especially from experience of being at this level for so long. I thought we had a team that had the potential, and we don't talk about wins and losses, but I knew from a standpoint of success, I thought it would be a team that probably wouldn't lose, a ton unless some, injuries and things happen. But 59 and 0, no, I never, even when we were continuing to win, it's not that I'm sitting back expecting us to lose one, but you're every day you're going, oh, a couple things have happened to begin this game. Maybe this is it. So, no, it was a crazy year, but, obviously a really rewarding and recognized year for these guys.
Let's talk a little bit about. I want to talk. Parents don't have a really good idea. When we talk 4-year schools, we hear NCAA, D3, D2, D1, transfer portal settlement, but NAIA has really exploded. And I would love for you to cover some of the things that are different between NAIA and NCAA as far as contacting student athletes, recruiting student athletes, and obviously the scholarship dynamic to NAIA.
Well, I'll start with this. The world that we live in now is completely different than the world we lived in 8 years ago. At this level, it used to be a situation where you didn't have a choice. If you left, for the most part, 90%, maybe higher than that, if you left an NCAA school, you really didn't have a chance. If you academically messed up, you didn't have a choice. You were going NAI. And there's been some really big names that have been at this level, and there's still some really big names. Um, one of the differences, if you want to look at contact period for us, it doesn't matter. We can talk to a kid when they're, and I hate to say 8 years old, and we can communicate when they're 8 years old, like some of these are, but it's a little bit different where we don't have contact periods. We don't have a signing date. We can sign them whenever we want. Academically, it's probably the biggest difference at this level, which can result, in some resources that are different. Obviously every school how they set it, every school what they're allowed to have, every school, the financial situation that they have is going to result in, you look at some of these bigger names and bigger schools at our level, we have a little bit more to work with. Every NAI allowed scholarship money, how much they have is based off the school. Um, there's different levels of scholarship money. You can academically stack. There's only so much you can play on the field, so that results at the end of to begin the year. There's some academic GPA stuff that comes in. It's hard to explain right now, but we have a whole different format in which we work with. Um, I've always told people that there's a lot of negative about our level. I think you only see the negative about it because it's easy to do that out there, but until you get out and watch a high level NAI game, a high level NAI roster, a high level NAI team, you know, you really shouldn't say anything because we're out. You look at our roster, everybody on it this last year had signed, played, or committed to a Division One at some point. And we're selfish. We're going to recruit the highest level player that we possibly can, and the only thing that we can be told is no. And no matter how good we are, We're going to get no more than we are yes. But our level with the portal and the NIL and all these different things that have come out with the NCAA, we actually are starting to get some kids that impact us. Where the NCAA it's they're so relied on that portal. It results in us getting some names and some players that could go Division 1 that we would have got a few years ago that we're starting to get. And I think it's one of those deals where they're sick and tired of just dealing and sitting back and waiting. And finally, it's like, hey, I'll just go to a small college that has national recognition, that has been successful, that has had drafts, that has had free agents, and I'm going to get a chance to win and a chance to play. There's so many differences. I would say everybody wants to go Division 1. That's everybody's deal. But look at the amount that are going in the portal. There's so many that you talk to where they'd rather take the chance right now. Just I don't know if it's an ego deal. I don't know if it's to say they did it. I always tell everybody this is Division 1 baseball here, and it doesn't have the blue dot next to his name. That's the difference. Um, so it takes time. For us, we got to be really patient. We've got 12 spots that we've got to fill. Kind of our number right now for this next year. And we've always said if we're going to win and we're going to win at a high level here in this program, we're not going to win until July or August. And like late July, early August, maybe even middle August, the week before school. And what I mean by that is that's when we're going to get, the last really impactful pieces to our roster when they finally figured out or made a decision. I'm not going to, I don't want to wait or, deal with this anymore. So I will take the team that has been wearing me out for years and go to that program because I know I'm going to get a chance to win. With the way the draft works anymore, if you're not a Power Five, you're not a Power Four, whatever you want to call it anymore, even JUCO, that's dwindling down. Division 2, NAI, we're going to have some each year. But you even look at some of the bigger names at Division 1, they're not getting drafted, they're not free agent signed because it's 20 rounds and they've depleted the minor league organizations. Independent balls is a route now. And the reason I bring that up is we've already had 6 signed independent ball right now, from the Frontier to the Pioneer. And that's where the affiliate program, affiliate organizations are doing a lot of signings right now. That's the easiest route for them to go. So when you look at the Division 1 route, people look at it for many different reasons that might not even work out or benefit them in the end. So just the education process, there's so much that goes into it that parents really like. I would say coaches and parents have to do a little bit more of a job researching. To inform their kid or their player in regards to the differences to make a better decision. Otherwise, they're going to deal with 5 to 6 different transcripts of going back and forth between different schools. And that's something that I don't want to deal with. We have to, but it becomes, it's just there's so much that goes into it. I don't even know if there's enough education that can go on throughout the country. And you talk to these Division 1 coaches anymore, they're sick of dealing with it. Their quality of life isn't great. They could bring a kid in and have a great year with them. All of a sudden, if it's a mid-major, now that kid say, "I'm going to the portal because I'm taking NIL money at this power school," which that's the name of the game now. Man, it's just there's too much for me to even talk about it to educate somebody that's listening, other than what I have already.
The the biggest thing that my takeaway that the statement that you made, it's Division 1 baseball without the blue dot. Now that's obviously the logo, NCAA, but I want you to talk about that. It's the talent level now is dispersed all throughout all levels of college baseball, not only at the NCAA level and JUCO level, but NAIA now. They're getting a lot of athletes. The talent at the NAIA has always been good, but it's even better now. So it's being spread out, major league draft, reduction of rounds, portal, all of those types of things. But now more than ever, you're getting the gritty, hard-nosed caliber athlete that says, I'm gonna work hard for my opportunity and make my career matter at LSUS.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our roster, like I said, everybody signed, played, committed Division 1 at some point for the most part. Um, we have some that are in this program because academics have they failed to meet a requirement from either graduation at a 2-year institution, a junior college, or they didn't make progress towards a degree, or it's a semester issue. Even COVID is still affected, and it's kind of getting it's for the most part out of its way at the NCAA. But for us, we granted 2 years back because the NJCAA did. We're the only level that did that. So we're still kind of getting some of those guys out. So it's led some guys that have a year left. They could come play at this level. Um, our third baseman, first team All American, Conference Player of the Year, was signed to Division One. A couple classes prevented him to. Our center fielder played at the Division One level with 20 some starts last year. You look at our rotation on a weekend. We got a two-time first team All American. It's just signed to go to the Frontier League that was National Pitcher of the Year. The two guys behind that, our second and third guy, you know, both up to 96. One of them, one's right side, one's left. We had 6 scouts in the stands at our regional final game to watch one of them. And we get all, we're in a great location. So that allows us to provide some more things that others maybe at this level don't. But the roster, we're trying to, and this is one thing that I've said a lot here this last week. We don't need the best players. We want the best players, but we're trying to form the best team. We're not forming a roster. We're forming a team with the roster that we form, and that might result in us getting somebody that maybe isn't a Division One talent, that maybe works into being a Division One talent by the time they're done here. We're big on development. We get more time at this level with these guys in the fall. We have weeks. We don't have hours. So some of those things might benefit some of these kids because they've got to be able to prove it right away when they get to that, in the fall at a Division One or a Power Five Division One or a mid major. When here we get more time for them to kind of settle in and prove their worth, at the end of the fall before they come back in January. So yes, it is. We're trying to form a Division One roster that I believe can compete with a lot of different Division Ones out there. The resources are probably the only thing that we have very good facilities, but some of those facilities might be a little bit different. They're not different than a lot of mid majors. But some of the higher mid majors they are. Then obviously the Power Fours, Power Fives, whatever they want to call it now. We've signed some really good ones for this next year that had played Division One that are a class or two short. From University of Oregon to one that played at Virginia Commonwealth, VCU. I mean, I'm looking at my roster right now. We got a guy that had signed at Arizona State out of high school that had to go JUCO because of grades. Every story is different with the guys that we get here. But when you look at the really good rosters at this level, here's an example. Somebody could be a grad transfer and come to LSU Shreveport with their last year. A lot of them want an MBA anymore. Well, what people fail to realize, and I didn't until I got here, we've got the number one MBA in the entire country. So
Oh, wow.
somebody, and it's been ranked, a couple years it's still in the top 5, but many years it's been ranked the number one MBA in the country. And that's what most want anymore. And there might be some kids that have already experienced the Division One level, have had some playing time, but they'd rather do something different and win in their last year. We're still going to give it, a program that gets opportunity. We've had 57 guys in our program that have played some form of professional baseball, whether it's a draft to an affiliate, a free agent to an affiliate, an independent that worked into an affiliate. So we still check a lot of the boxes that these Division Ones are able to check. It's just a matter of, you know, how these kids. I kind of call us the last house on the block. If you're going to come here, this is probably your last stop. Now, the one thing that we have been fortunate, and we've had a couple, and I'm fine with it. If a kid wants to come here, even though I don't want to deal with a revolving door roster all the time, if a kid wants to come here and he's got 2 years left and he can get eligible to end his career at a Division One, and we've been part of the development process that gives them enough time that they've proven at the college level and they want to go back, I'm fine with that. And with the new 5th-year deal coming out for Division One, we've got some kids that were 4-year guys this year that are not going to graduate. They have another semester, so they're not going to be able to go play Division One. We work that with kids. If they can come here and graduate in their 1 or 2 years, and they can go for that 5th year and go play Division One, I got no problem helping. I'll make the calls for them. So there's a lot of things that we're able to provide now that actually the NCAA might negatively affect us, but they do positively affect us with some of these things that are coming out.
Where does the role of the high school athlete fit at LSUS with regard to, are you recruiting out of high school? Do you want them to do a JUCO and then come to you? How does that work as far as you and your staff is concerned?
That's a good question. It's both. It's way more junior college and 4-year transfers for us because at this level, it's just kind of been the thing for so many years. And if you look back, kind of what I talked about back when, if you left an NCAA, you had to go to NAI. Well, all the really good programs at this level were built off that and high level junior college kids that didn't make academics. For us, I think it's a no brainer for us to get high school kids and for high school kids to consider this place. Because financially, the packages that they can get here, we're a state school. We cost $7,500 a year, and you can live wherever you want, housing wise. So, without food, you're looking at about $12,000 a year. Well, a high school kid, especially in state, with the TOPS money,
Right.
academic money, You piece that together, they might be at the limit of what this school allows you to give somebody. And I don't want this to sound wrong because money is all institutional aid. We might not even have to give him anything because the money's come from the same place. But their packages are unbelievable. The only negative to it, and we've taken some really good ones that maybe got passed up. There's a couple things to it. We're still going to have some very, more experienced, more physical, more mature, older guys that have been away from living with mom and dad for a while and on their own. And we know how that can go at times. So
Oh,
we've
yeah.
had really good ones come in here, and you try to explain them in the process. Number one, you're going to have to be patient. All right, we'd love for you to play right away because the continuity that provides to this program and you guys over time, you learn the system quicker. You adapt to the system quick, over those years than the 4 year guy that we get in when maybe you're an older sophomore or a junior. But they've got to have patience because it'd be the same thing when they go to a Division One. They might have to have patience. They're not playing those guys as much anymore, being living off the portal. So they're going to have to come in here. They're going to have to understand they're around a bunch of older wild animals that we're trying to help change some habits. And the good thing about this level, which is one thing that I didn't say that I think can really help some of these parents understand. We have a new rule at this level. You can play in 10 games. So think about a pitcher. A pitcher could make 10 starts, no matter how those starts went. If he does not go above 10 and he does not play in the postseason, the year does not count against you. Position
Oh,
players
wow.
could come in. Yeah, a position player could come in here and play 10 games, make 10 starts as an example, have 4 ABs in each game. That's 40 ABs. And it's one of those deals where, hey, you got some time and you experienced it. Let's not burn this year on you. You still have 4 more years. We're not going to play it, in the next one, in an 11th game. We're not going to play in the postseason. We'll travel you with us so you can experience it. But the year doesn't count against you, and you've already got a little bit ahead of the game. So that's a rule that actually benefits us that they just changed 3 years ago. So there's a lot more positive coming out to our level that if people could understand it. I mean, we've had guys that have been injured, man, that have had a ton of time on the pitching side as an example, and they weren't past that 10th game yet. It's great for them. The only thing from an academic standpoint is you get 10 full-time semesters at this level to complete 4 years of baseball. There's just ways that, you have to look at that with academically going forward. There's a lot of positives to this level.
One of the things that, I talked to Dave Serrano. He played in your regional. He's at Johnson now. A lot of baseball people, are starting to become more aware and recommending NAI baseball across the country. Now, you being in Louisiana, that's kind of a southern climate baseball hotbed. Talk a little bit about, do you go outside of that southeastern area to look for athletes, maybe colder weather states, Chicago, New England, Mid Atlantic, et cetera? You're, anybody that fits an NAI program can come from anywhere. It's not just your backyard there in Louisiana.
100%. And you brought up Dave Serrano. So obviously, I had a 6 month stint at the Division One level at Southern Illinois, and had
Yep.
no reason to leave. And this came open, and one thing led to another. But I was at Tennessee Westland, 45 minutes down the road from Johnson, for 4 years. We were fortunate to win the national title there. I was at Campbellsville, Kentucky before. It doesn't matter where they come. We've kind of told everybody, with putting together the best team, I don't care where they come from. We're going to form a junior college 4 year with some high school trickled in all-star roster that's going to become an all-star type team. If you look at our roster right now, and I'll bring this up, and you can compare it to the years. We've had years where we've had 20 some plus states in 5 different countries here. You look at next
Oh,
year,
wow.
guys coming in next year: Illinois, California, Arizona, Australia. We've got in the Louisiana one, Georgia, Nevada, Oregon, Texas, Puerto Rico, Canada.
Wow.
And returning wise, you've got Arkansas, you got Missouri, you got Utah, you got Kentucky, you got Hawaii, you got Indiana. So they're from all over the place. And, you know, when we approach it with the junior college, there's only, I think, 5 junior colleges in the state of Louisiana. For how good this baseball is and how big it is here, it's the one place where it lacks. Mississippi has a ton of them. We get big into Texas. It's right. We got to dominate that state. We're big into Arizona. When I was at Tennessee Westland that year that we won it, we took guys that were really good players from places that nobody knew about, and it worked out really well from us. I mean, we had guys from Maryland that were junior college, Division II, Division III junior college All Americans that nobody was really digging in, because everybody, kind of what happens at this level is everybody bodies what they do off who was successful. So I go look at their roster. I just go see where they're getting them from, and we've all done that. Well, then they start kind of latching on to that area. Okay, well, they had a bunch of Florida and Texas. Let's go get Florida and Texas. Well, eventually, when everybody gets in there, you got to find a way to stay in there and try to still dominate it. But you might have to go look elsewhere. We try to get out everywhere we can. We've built a network that's all throughout the country. And of course, we've had really good teams here, and it led to us winning a national title this last year. But now we're getting calls from the bigger ones that maybe, like, I understand it. They want their guys to go to Division One. If they go NAI, they want them to go to the best one. Well, right now we're the best one, so that's where they want. If a guy's got to go NAI, they want to say they're going to the LSU Shreveport, and part of that's the network and the connection that we've made as a staff with our recruiting.
So if a parent or a student athlete has an interest in an LSUS, and there you want to come, do you have camps, or, is that something that you are active in social media? How do you prefer your athletes or your families to reach out and get in touch with you?
Well, it doesn't matter if it's a college transfer, a high school kid that's coming in, 4 year, junior college, high school. We've gotten some of the best players in ways you wouldn't believe. It could be, sometimes your players are the best recruiters. It's who they
Right.
know. Hey, so and so's leaving. What do you think about him? We look him up. We get in contact. Yeah, it's a fit. We start cross checking with other coaches. From a high school standpoint, I'm big on the showcases. We've signed one or two of those high school kids out of them, but the problem that we've ran into here is each year we've been doing a facility upgrade. So for 2 years, we thought we were getting turf on our infield at one point. Well, it ended up taking a little bit longer, so we couldn't do them. We didn't know they were breaking ground. Right now, they're tearing up our outfield, so that shut us down from doing tournaments this summer. We put in the new clubhouse at one point here, which that shut down some of it. COVID was a factor at one point. So that's been big for us. But when you look, some of the best players that we've gotten have been late in the summer that have made a real big impact here. That Division One didn't work out for them. They're away from their coaches now at the junior college level. They just emailed us. So then we go and cross check it. We look them up, and it happened to work out. Coaches call us, high school coaches. It's text, it's email, it's call. And when the name starts getting out there, it's easier to realize, all right, hey, this is one of the top teams at that level. Let's go get a hold of them and see what we can do. So it is a combination of any way possible that you can think about how we've gotten a player. I mean, you name it, it's probably happened.
Well, Brad, I want to say thank you, and obviously congratulations. Tremendous season at any level in any sport. Anytime you can go undefeated and win a World Series, you've had a heck of a season, that'll be remembered for decades by you and your athletes. But best of luck in the fall. If we can ever be of any help, please reach out and let us know. Parents going to have all of LSUS information, Brad's contact information as far as email and so forth. We'll have that in the description in both the podcast as well as the video, both the long version and the shorts. Brad, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Great. Thank you very much for having me on, being patient with getting me on here. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you, Brad.
Take care.
All right, Captain.